Well, happening now, Chautauqua County saw its first pediatric case of COVID-19. We'll have the latest. Plus, local officials continue to call for the area to reopen its economy.
And not a cloud in the sky out there this afternoon. A gorgeous day, but warmer weather is on the way. I've got the full forecast next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Chautauqua County officials announced yesterday that a child now has tested positive for COVID-19. Health officials say this is the first confirmed pediatric case of the virus. Officials say their job is to make sure they're putting facts over fear and making the community aware that there has been recent displays of coronavirus in children. There are now 44 confirmed cases of the virus here in Chautauqua County, with 8 active, 32 recovered, and 4 deaths reported. Governor Andrew Cuomo yesterday directed hospitals statewide to prioritize COVID-19 testing for children displaying symptoms similar to an atypical Kawasaki disease and toxic shock-like syndrome. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also now saying it's preparing to alert doctors to watch for dangerous inflammatory syndrome in children that could be linked to coronavirus. Well, local elected leaders are calling for our area to reopen. Assemblyman Andy Goodell, speaking during a press conference held by Congressman Tom Reed here in Jamestown, says restrictions placed by New York State are killing local businesses.
There have been 4 deaths from COVID-19 and just under 400 deaths altogether. You are 100 times more likely to die from something else in Chautauqua County than COVID-19. Yet our local businesses are being killed by a statewide shutdown that started with a crisis in New York City and continues with problems in Buffalo.
Furthermore, the Assemblyman says since the outbreak began, there have been no confirmed cases of the virus in Jamestown, and there has not been a new confirmed case in the southern part of the county in the past 2 weeks. The Assemblyman also urges law enforcement to prioritize their work, focusing on what he calls the most serious violent crimes first and the most serious criminal activity before they focus on whether or not to, quote, someone is improperly driving a golf cart, end quote. He encouraged residents who disagree with the New York on pause order to visit the governor's website and voice their concern in the written comment section. Goodell's Democrat opponent has voiced her concern about the lack of sample size in regards to COVID-19 data. Well, meanwhile, a new website to monitor the status of reopening regions here in New York has been released. The state launched a website to monitor where each region stands in its reopening process. Now, previously, the governor set 7 criteria for reopening, and each region must maintain each of those criteria to progress towards a full reopening. So far, though, only 3 regions have met all 7 criteria for reopening. Western New York currently meets 5 of the 7 benchmarks, falling short with the first 2 metrics for decline in total hospitalizations and deaths. It's unclear how often this region-by-region status tracker will be updated by the state. We have a link so you can see it yourself at WNYNewsNow.com. Well, warning that the state isn't out of danger yet, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is urging everyone to wear masks out of respect for essential workers amid this COVID-19 pandemic. During his daily briefing yesterday, Cuomo recounted a tense conversation about masks he had with a man on a recent walk with his daughter. He says people should be aware that masks, which are worn to reduce the wearer's chance of infecting others, are a sign of respect to everyone that they walk past, as well as to workers pulling society through the outbreak.
This mask says, I respect the nurses and the doctors who killed themselves through this virus to save other people. And I respect the nurses and the doctors. So I'm not going to infect anyone or allow anyone else to be infected unnecessarily so I don't cause more stress on the nurses and the doctors.
New York requires people to wear face coverings when in close proximity to others in public. As people grow weary of this extended lockdown, though, some are complaining that those requirements infringe on individual liberty. Well, a U.S. Air Force flyover visited Chautauqua County yesterday. Take a look. The 914th Air Refueling Wing of the Air Force Reserves at Niagara Falls and the Vermont National Guard conducted a required aerial refueling training operation. Now, following that training, several planes flew over parts of western New York near the Buffalo area to salute frontline workers during the COVID pandemic. 3 of them broke away from formation in Buffalo and flew over Chautauqua Lake at around 12:30. And as you see from our own cameras and viewers like you, we got a lot of great images coming in, and certainly what an amazing salute to everybody here in Chautauqua County, something you do not see every day. Well, hopefully everyone is having a good day, and we thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of COVID-19. Let's say hello to Heather. Hopefully you're doing well. Good to see Kevin. Good to see Brittany, Lori, Ray, and Butch on the broadcast. Great to have Jay and Jen here with us. Hopefully you all are having a good one and enjoying some of this sunshine that is out there. Let's get a check of our First Defense weather forecast, and that's where we find Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Hey, Dakota.
Hey, Justin, and happy Wednesday, everybody. Halfway through the week, almost halfway through the week, and it couldn't be any better. Here's a live look coming from the Mill Creek Mall in Erie. Lots of sun around, not a cloud in the sky with a temperature of 47 degrees, but it's going to be cooler near the Lake Erie shoreline today because we have an onshore wind today, and with that wind coming across the lake, it's going to keep the immediate waterfront a little bit cooler. And again, the satellite shows you basically nothing across western New York. There's a high pressure ridge set up across the Great Lakes region, and that is keeping all of this down to our south, and we are going to stay dry today and tonight, but some more rain returns tomorrow. But wouldn't you know it, again, we have another night of frost and freeze conditions to go through. I know, I'm sorry. The Weather Service has issued a frost advisory for the western southern tier, basically only Chautauqua County, and then there is a freeze warning for Cattaraugus and Allegheny counties and further out to the east. This all starts tonight and goes until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, again with temperatures near freezing again tonight. All the early planners know this, that any temperature sensitive vegetation, cover it up or bring it inside once again tonight. 48 was the high yesterday. 31 is where we bottomed out this morning. Not close to a record, though. The record low was 24, set back in 1987. So through the afternoon, soak it up, everybody. Gobs and gobs of sun. Milder, but still a cool day. 47 at the immediate Lake Erie waterfront because of that northwest onshore wind, spiking to 55 well inland away from the lake breeze. And we've got more warmer weather on the way, but rain returns. We'll time it all out in a few minutes. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, how COVID-19 is impacting policing. Jamestown Police Chief Harry Snellings joins us next live.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. COVID-19 has impacted many over the past 2 months, from families to those on the front lines. Joining us on the broadcast to talk more about how the outbreak has impacted his police department is Jamestown Police Chief Harry Snellings. Chief, great to have you here today.
Thanks, Justin. Good to have you.
First off, I want to ask, how has COVID-19 changed the way policing takes place in Jamestown?
Well, from the onset, going all the way back to March, it was, definitely some growing pains for us. All the law enforcement agencies here in Stockton County, one of the first things we discussed was, how would policing look if there were potential outbreaks within our departments? How would we support each other in developing a plan under mutual aid? And it's kind of progressed to where we are now. With constant issuing of the executive orders, we've been forced to stay up on those. From initially providing PPEs for officers and developing a protocol now as essential workers, based on the nature of our job, there are many times that we actually have to wear masks. So it's gone through multiple stages. I would tell you that we developed some protocols on what calls we're going to send our officers to, starting with our dispatchers and our call takers. They were asking specific questions, more for a precautionary approach, so our officers weren't responding to calls blindly in case someone had been determined to have COVID-19 or they were symptomatic. So we took those extra steps. If there were calls that we could handle over the phone or via email, we did. But what the nature of our business, we can't function in a bubble. We still have to provide public safety to our community. Our response to in-progress and emergency calls haven't changed, and they continue. Initially our calls for service were down, but again, as time has continued to go on, our calls have kind of caught up to where we were before, and we've definitely seen a significant increase in domestic violence calls, an increase in overdose calls, and certain crimes we've seen a recent uptick in.
And I do want to get to that domestic violence here in a minute. Certainly we can talk to the resources. But in regards to the new executive orders that have really kind of changed the way that a lot of people live their lives, we've seen police departments, specifically I know of an instance in Cattaraugus County where a woman was charged for allegedly having a large gathering, and this was after deputies there talked to her numerous times to explain to her the health risks. Here in Jamestown, how are your officers going about trying to educate people and enforce those orders?
Sure. Well, the first thing I want to say is, generally, our community has done a fantastic job. We've received a few complaints through the governor's pause initiative, and we followed up on them. But generally, everybody's been receptive. Our standing orders here, if we do run across a violation, our first approach is to educate and inform them of the potential violation. And we've had no issues, no real issues. We've had, and again, part of that is just a lack of information. For example, we had a business that was functioning under the sole proprietary single employee rule that was first put into place. And then the state removed it from their website and really didn't inform anyone. So that created some confusion initially. We addressed it with a couple of business owners, told them they did have the option to apply for a waiver, and a couple of them did pursue that, and they was granted.
Now, our county DA has recently expressed concern with people who were trying to use this COVID outbreak to their advantage. In nearby Lakewood, we had a case of a man allegedly wipe his sweaty forehead on an officer who was investigating a theft. Is officer safety a big concern of yours during this time?
Well, it is all the time. And, that's one of the things about our job. And we always emphasize officer safety. And as a first responder, whether it's police, EMS, fire, we're always potentially exposed to everyday calls, whether it's fentanyl, other infectious diseases, and now COVID-19. So That's always been part of our training. We've had to take some additional steps just because this virus has the potential to spread and being contagious. But the work conditions for us are generally the same anyway. This should be our approach. Always has been our approach.
Now, in regards to, you mentioned fentanyl, the drug epidemic, aside from COVID, has been pretty tough in our region. But now we're seeing a spike of overdoses here in Chautauqua County. Have we seen an increase specifically in Jamestown?
Our calls for doses have increased. We've only experienced one overdose death that I'm aware of here in the city of Jamestown. The majority have been throughout the different areas within our county. But we did go a week or so where I think there were 5. And we have definitely seen an increase in fentanyl.
Now, your Metro Drug Task Force has really been at the forefront, cracking down on the illegal sales. For people in the community, what's the best way for them to help your investigators?
Sure. Again, we have not stopped doing investigations. I think you've seen that. We're still executing search warrants. We're still trying to do business as usual, the best that we can. But again, just as we've stated in the past, if you see something, you can contact us in a variety of ways, whether it's through our Facebook page, our 411 app, or our tips line. And again, it's 483-TIPS. And people tend to use that more than any other way of contacting us, but we do follow up on all of them.
Yeah, certainly. And because of COVID, it does seem like there's a lot of people who are more stressed than usual. And have you seen an uptick in disorderly calls and domestics?
Well, yeah, we've definitely seen an increase in domestics. I looked at some numbers the other day. Our aggravated assaults have gone way up comparatively to last year. We've seen an increase in calls that are involving mental health issues, but those are all predictable. I think every law enforcement agency across the country, these issues we're anticipating them.
Now, is there resources out there for people, and I'd imagine especially domestic violence situations, where they could try to get help confidentially?
Sure. The state they've established a hotline. They also have a website. But here in our PD, and Project Crossroads is still up and running. You can contact Officer Rader or our civilian advocate, and we can direct you to all the available resources that are still open. I'm not aware of any resource that is shut down because of this.
Yeah, and I imagine it's that's an essential service, just like police,
Sure.
fire is. And here in the community, we've seen several businesses and members reach out to show their thanks to various departments. And I know you guys have been posting on your Facebook page, really everything from hot dogs to full meals that have been donated. What does that mean for your department?
Sure. The support has been incredible. And, we can't put everybody out there that have donated, but we've received phone calls of people that have made masks. They want to donate masks. We've had a couple of doctors that have called us, and we're very gracious. We're thankful. We've oftentimes redirected them to potentially other places that may need them because we have ample amount of PPEs here for our officers. But again, thank you to everyone. Not beyond the donations, just the everyday thank yous that our officers have been receiving. We're extremely grateful.
Yeah, and certainly the one thing I think with this community is everybody always comes together, especially in the time of need, and I think we've seen that here. Going forward, what's your message to folks in the community as we continue to move throughout this time?
Well, I share in some of their level of frustration. I understand that, especially with the weather getting nicer. I just exercises. I tell our officers, exercise some common sense. You can still get outdoors. There are things that you can still do. If you visit businesses, just please be compliant with their requests and not create situations for them and for us, because we're going to eventually respond. And we'll get through this. It's it's been taxing on everyone.
Yeah, it has, and together we will. That's the hope, anyways. Jamestown Police Chief Harry Snelling's joining us today. Sir, thank you so much for your time. It's great to hear from you on the show.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate it.
Let's now get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, hey, did you see the sunset last night? It was fantastic. This is a picture coming from our own Sean Sweatman. He pilots the Storm Interceptor for us. And how about that? The sun going down over Lake Erie. That was fantastic. And our own Jay Gould took this in Randolph last night. The sun going down over the hill. Man, that was fantastic. The sun was out last night. We got those clouds to clear out, and we had a fantastic sunset. And if you have any pictures or videos of the weather, you can tweet them to me at HuntersWX or post them on the First Defense weather page on Facebook. Again, Andrew and I had that. We are always throwing stuff out on there basically almost every day. So again, it has been a very cold stretch so far early this spring, not just April, but in May. Ridiculously cold. The average high so far for the month is 50.5 degrees. That is 14.6 below normal to where we should be. The average high this time of the year is actually in the upper 70s, upper 60s, excuse me. So again, we haven't seen a long time warmth pattern come in, but it looks like that's going to be changing as we head into the later part of the weekend into next week. Here's the News Now cam showing you bright sunshine downtown, not a cloud in the sky. 45 at the airport north of the city, west wind at 9. This west to northwest wind today is going to keep the immediate Lake Erie waterfront cooler today, and the wind chill is down to 40 degrees, but it is feeling great out there even though it's still below average. Beautiful high pressure ridge. Note these 3 high pressures here. This is a ridge that is set up down to our south, and that's keeping all of this at bay. So it's going to be an absolutely dry day today. If it rains at all today, Justin Gould will each pay you $1. Everybody watching right now, he will pay you $1 if it rains today. I mean, with high pressure and control and not a cloud in the sky, it is going to be dry out there. It'll be a good afternoon to go out and golf. Temperatures lower 50s, lots of sunshine through the day. Get out there and enjoy it, but social distance, separate carts, 6 feet apart. You all know that. Now, looking down the road, here's something to get excited about. Big change in the upper air pattern coming here. The jet stream dips in the west and pulls to the north, which means a big ridge is going to bulge up into our region, and that means warmer than average temperatures throughout the end of the month and likely going into early next month as well, but that's still to be determined, so that's TBA. Also tonight, if you need something to do, this is the last Storm Spotter training session of the year. So if you have not gone to one of these sessions, I highly encourage it. Tonight at 7 o'clock online. And again, to register, go to weather.gov/BUF/Skywarn. We need more spotters. Spotters are the only people who see down at the ground. Very crucial. So we need more spotters. I highly encourage that. Fun for the whole family. 9 to 99 can become trained. We highly encourage it. So temperatures today, inland areas, lower 50s here, maybe some upper 50s, especially when you work farther inland and south away from that lake breeze, but soak up the sun, Shower Crow. But it's still below average, but it's going to feel a lot better than it has the past couple of days. This is the cooler spot today, right near the Lake Erie shoreline with that onshore wind coming right off the lake. That is going to keep the immediate waterfront cooler. But finally, a fabulous day. Yes, next 7 days of your life on planet Earth coming up right now. 61 tomorrow. Again, a few rain showers at times, maybe a few thunder showers Friday, 67. Spring is back on Saturday, 71. Go out and get you some. And we start an uphill climb once again into early next week with a few rain showers and some partial sunshine at times next Tuesday. Justin?
Dakota. Thank you for that. They say in the comments, Kevin says, going to hold you accountable for that $1.
Yes. If it rains at all today,
no.
Notice this big yellow blob on the forecast panel. If it rains at all today, Justin will pay each of you $1. Everybody who's watching right now.
Yeah, they hear it. That's coming out of your weather budget. Dakota, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
And welcome back. Well, for many, it's synonymous with America. But today, May 13th, is National Apple Pie Day. Now, according to the National Day calendar, the recipe for this sweet baked treat was introduced back in 1381. That recipe included other fruits along with apples like figs, raisins, and pears. While the saying goes, it says American is apple pie, the first recipe for that treat was actually printed out in England. No word on when Americans adopted the pie, but that famous phrase has been around for more than 100 years. So if you can, maybe get somewhere where they have that delicious pie. Certainly looks good. Well, hopefully everyone is going to have a good day, and we thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to be your source for information amid this COVID-19 pandemic, and hope to try to bring some joy there as well. Got to say hello to Lori, hello to Kevin. Hopefully you're doing well. Connie, good to see you. Good to see Ray, Jay here, Kyle as well, Amy, and Storm. Happy Wednesday to you, halfway through the week. Let's check back in with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. He's here with one final look at our weather forecast if you didn't get to catch it. Dakota, like you showed those sunset pics that I got last night, it was so nice. Are we going to have that again tonight?
Well, we actually might have it early tonight, but the clouds are going to be filtering back in again tonight. So our lows, 30 in the deepest valleys, 37 at the lakeshore. Once you get away from the Lake Erie shoreline, some frost will likely develop before the clouds actually start to move back in tonight, and rain returns a little bit in the day tomorrow, but temperatures warming up by the weekend. We're talking lower 70s, Justin.
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us today. We leave you with a shot over Finley Lake. We don't show this camera too often. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. It's free in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. All you got to do is search WNY News Now, subscribe to breaking news push notifications, and we'll keep you updated. We're back tomorrow right here at noon or thereabouts, depending on how the governor's daily update goes. Hope to see you then.